Listen to that crowd. They know who it is. They know the name. The next generation, indeed.
Next Gen. That's his nickname.
Next Gen.
What's up, Steelers fans? Here we are at the end of another long, winding road that ultimately meets its terminus in Orchard Park, New York, at the hands of the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round. The 2023 NFL season officially over for the Steelers with a 31-17 defeat. The Steelers spotted the Bills a 21-0 advantage in the first quarter, and it looked like it was going to be all Buffalo until a blocked field goal by, it looked like either Cam Hayward or Montravius Adams sparked a 10-point swing and got the Steelers back into the game right before halftime. Ultimately, a strong third quarter was not enough to hold off the home Buffalo Bills, but getting ahead of myself, starting at the beginning of Act 1, the Steelers' offensive line, which has earned a reputation of late as a bit of a road-grading unit, ultimately met their match in Buffalo against a unit that they should have been able to run against. I have the PFF ratings pulled up here. Coming into the game, Buffalo was the 29th ranked rushing defense in the NFL. The Steelers came out with a predictable game plan. They stuck with what has been working for them on this Mason Rudolph run, and the Bills were not surprised. There was a lot of bada-bing, bada-bow, bada-bada-bada-bada-dow, and not a lot of bada-boom, which is what the Steelers have been doing so successfully these last couple weeks, which has been the run for 3 yards, run for 4 yards, get them all coming in on the 3rd and 1 run, and then go over the top to George Pickens. That's the bada-bow that they needed to go for. I feel like they weren't going enough to Mason Rudolph early in this game. They were, afraid of the elements. A lot of underneath stuff to George, a lot of underneath stuff to Jalen, and Jalen was finding some lanes, and you appreciate his efforts there. Deontay was also finding some lanes on some underneath stuff, and instead of the running backwards that he usually does, he was, positioning himself and then getting upfield and splitting tacklers for first downs. Love to see that from Deontay. On the Bills' first touchdown, there was a miscommunication. Patrick Pete obviously learning the safety role back there. He was having some words with Landon Roberts after that play. Eric Rowe was the next closest player to the actual receiver who ended up catching the touchdown there. I won't be able to tell until I get eyes on the all-22, but I think the responsibility was either on Peterson or Eric Rowe. They're the safeties to jump on that tight end running the corner route there. I don't think you expect Landon Roberts, the middle linebacker, to carry him all the way to the back pylon there. On the Bills' next drive, Patrick Pete had a chance to redeem himself, almost had a sack of Josh Allen there, who was able to wriggle away and actually completed a pass there to Steph Diggs downfield for a first down. That drive only stalled because of a couple offline throws from Josh Allen, and the Bills' receivers actually helped us out a little bit in this game too with some drop passes, as has been the case. Especially in the first Ravens game this year, drop passes are the only thing that kept the Steelers defense clawing alive in some of those matchups. And obviously it only took one play on that field position that we gifted them right over the middle, victimizing that middle of the field. Eric Rowe deserted the middle of the field, going over to help out on the sideline, leaving Miles Jack all alone. And Josh Allen tucked it right in over his hands, over his outstretched arms there, and for that touchdown there. After Buffalo went up 14-0, the Steelers offense responded with another 3-and-out. It was a failed run, followed by 2 batted passes, the second of which looked like it could have been a pick 6 there. Fortunately, Buffalo's offense was kind enough to give us 2 failed screens and a drop pass, gave us the ball right back, and we actually had a successful play coming out with Freiermuth there on the first play from scrimmage, and at the end of it, he puts the ball on the turf again, and ruled fumbled out of bounds in the field. Buffalo used both their challenges in the first quarter. The first one, a successful one on the George Pickens fumble. That was ruled a incomplete pass in the field. McDermott challenged that, was overturned, ruled a catch and fumble, set them up in good field position. The second was the Freiermuth fumble that was ruled fumbled out of bounds. And if that had been ruled the other way on the field, there's no way they would have overturned it by review. I think the Steelers got lucky that one stood as called. It was hard to tell if maybe Freiermuth touched it when he was out of bounds, or it was hard to tell when the defender gained possession of that ball as he was sliding towards the out-of-bounds line there. On the last play of the first quarter, the Steelers finally logged their first successful rush of the day with Najee Harris. It was their first in their 6 attempts. And then on the other side of the field switch, on the first play of the second quarter, he followed it up with another chain-moving run. On the ensuing first down play, Mason backed us up with a sack. Warren got more than all of it back. The yardage lost on second down there to make it a third and manageable situation. And then the check down to Freiermuth ended up running through a tackle there. Nice, impressive third down conversion. So the Steelers were driving there, got down into the low red zone, and then Mason threw that interception right into the arms of Elam because it looked like he was able to push the Steelers receiver off his arc as he was running his route. So Mason threw the ball to where he anticipated on that rhythm route Deontay to be, and where he anticipated Deontay to be actually was where Elam ended up. So Elam turns his head coming out of that break and just finds the ball laying in his arms. So a nice piece of route jamming on Deontay Johnson there, one of the better route runners in the NFL. Turns the ball the other way. What should have been a Steelers touchdown comes back, and pretty immediately there turns into a Josh Allen rushing touchdown. So you can call that at least a 7-point swing, if not a 14-point swing. Speaking of that Josh Allen touchdown, it looked like the Steelers were bringing pressure on that, bringing numbers, and they were blitzing a pinch, as if they were blitzing a 41-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger now, who's retired and sitting on the couch watching these games, and not Josh Allen, one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, who easily just sidesteps that. And then after he gets past the initial rush, he's looking at just man coverage downfield. They all have their back to him. They're worried about the guys they're covering. He knows I have at least 10 yards free here before they even know I'm running for it. The Bills almost had a fourth touchdown there in the first half. Looking over the middle of the field, Josh Allen was. Eric Rowe just able to get a hand up on that pass, but that turned into a field goal attempt, which obviously turned into a blocked field goal. I think it was either Hayward or Adams who got a hand up on that. But Herbig ended up recovering it all the way back on the Bills, I think, 33-yard line. The Steelers had plenty of time to play with in Bills territory there. They moved the chains again with Warren on that first down, going to the 2-minute warning. Coming out of the break, they worked some underneath stuff to George, who at this point was doing a good job keeping his composure. And then they hit the slant to Deontay for the 6, capping off a 10-point swing there with the blocked field goal and then turning it around for a touchdown. The celebration after the touchdown, spinning it and then pretending they're warming their hands over a campfire. I'm sure when they planned that out, they did envision being down 3 scores and still down 2 scores when that score happened. It takes a little bit of a different aura when we're looking at it in that light. But, the Steelers defense came out. Marcus Golden slammed the door on the first half with a sack there. To turn what could have been a 24-0 deficit at halftime into 21-10. Steelers still very much in it. I had started to lose faith during the first half with looking at the trench battles that the Bills were clearly winning, especially on their side of the ball, bullying the Steelers' defensive line. Around the turn from the first to the second quarter, the Steelers' offensive line started getting that bully mentality back, and Najee started having some tough, angry runs. It was a clear match of momentums. Things started going the Bills' way, and then plays started piling on top of that. At one point, they had 4 consecutive first down plays, and then the next play obviously was a touchdown. And then, Minka gets one stop, and then things start going the Steelers' way, and then they get the ball back. And then in the second half, I was upset with the officiating of the game. Things that were not called, things that were called that I thought should have went the other way. The holding on Myles Jack, it seemed like the Bills receiver, did as much to Myles Jack to pull him down as Myles did to impact the receiver's, ability to run his route. And so I don't think I would have called that holding. It couldn't have been interference because it was an uncatchable ball. But it was very clear who the NFL wanted to win this game. Having said that, I cannot blame officiating for the result of the game after the Minka missed tackle that resulted in that final touchdown for the Bills there, that resulted in putting them back up 2 scores late in that game there. So that when the Steelers were making their run late in that game, as time was ticking away, and they needed to score and get the onside kick and to score again, it would have been an entirely different situation if they just needed that one touchdown there. So I can't blame officiating for this game as much as I want to be angry at that 4th down throw to George Pickens. How he was held, very similar, seemingly, on first watch at least, to the Myles Jack situation. But I think from the officials' point of view, if it's first or second down, or if it's the first, second, or even third quarter, if they notice something, they don't have any qualms in throwing the flag at that point. It's like, oh, look at me, look how smart I am, I noticed a thing. But if it's the fourth quarter, if they notice it, there's that hesitancy to pull out the flag when they know it's a situation where they're directly going to be impacting the result of the game. with their yellow laundry, and instead of letting the players on the field decide the result. You can't officiate the game differently on 4th down as you would on 3rd or 2nd or 1st down. Just because you know that throwing that flag or not is going to directly impact the result of the game, you can't be afraid to call the rules as they're written. And if you're going to throw the flag on the Miles Jack thing, I want to see that flag come out on the George Pickens. Grabbing him around the waist, not letting him, and almost entirely spinning him around as he's trying to make that play there. Obviously, the Steelers defense, the story of the whole year is how depleted they've been at the middle linebacker, missing the best player on the planet in TJ Watt. I think on the offensive side of the ball, you have to be cognizant that you don't have the stifling defense that you were expecting to have, and you have to do a little bit more than you had to do in the Baltimore game, in the Seattle game, in the Cincinnati game. You need a little bit more than your offense has given you in those last games to overcome the loss of TJ Watt. Defensively, obviously not a one-man job filling in for TJ Watt, and even as a total unit assignment, they don't have enough dirt to fill in that sinkhole. To go with the old conservative, almost scared play calling, sticking with the ground game after it's shown to not work, and not taking those deep shots over the top until 20 seconds left in the game when you're still down 2 scores. I understand, you got to dance with the one who brought you, but you can be a ground and pound team and still go over the top on 1st down every now and then, and still have your identity be, we're going to run it down your throat and load the box and try to stop us, and every once in a while, whoops, we're gonna hit you with that action. But your identity can still be this. You don't always have to 1st down, run, 2nd down, screen pass, 3rd down, check down. It seemed like the ghost of Matt Canada was out there calling plays for the Steelers today. And, as much as you want to put this on the defense for giving up, 31 points, like I said, the offense didn't do enough. There's some speculation about Cam Hayward's future. Jerry Dulac wrote that he would have to take a pay cut if he was going to return next year. Listening to him speak after the game, he seemed like he was on the verge of tears. His body has been clearly beat up over the course of the season. He alluded to that. He didn't want to go too much into detail and get his staff, his coaches and staff in trouble. But he said he was going to take the offseason to get healthy and evaluate, and it certainly sounded like a man who had a decision to make and not a man who had made a decision who was planning on coming back. But on the more positive end of things, we know TJ Watt's coming back, we know Keanu Benton's coming back, Joey Porter Jr. coming back, Mason Rudolph, future up in the air, Kenny Pickett's future also up in the air, depending on how you feel about him. You may be yay or nay on that one. Who else is George Pickens coming back, Broderick Jones coming back. There's enough of a nucleus here in this team to be excited about, to build around. With those 3 inside linebackers getting healthy and coming back next year, next to TJ Watt, Minka, the defense, Cam or not, is going to be in good hands. And you see Captain Cam up on my wall here. Obviously, I hope he's back. But on the offensive side of the ball, with the quarterback murkiness aside, you have playmakers on the outside, George and Deontay, playmakers on the inside. Freiermuth and Jalen Warren and Najee. The rushing game's in good shape. Broderick Jones. The line's starting to come together. Isaac Samalu. There's a decent core here to build around, things to be excited about. Knowing what little we know about Omar Khan so far and the limited sample size we have on him, there's all the reason in the world to be excited about the 2024 draft going into the 2024 season, and I'm sure you guys are as excited as I am, as high as the bar as that is. But if you're coming here to listen to me talk after that demoralizing loss and end of the Steelers season, then kudos on you, and stay tuned for my best of compilations for all the Steelers players from 2023, and I hope you'll join me here again next year on Steely Can, the podcast.
Get it.